Well, hello and welcome to the Celebration Machine. I'm your host, Pete Hammond. If this is your first time being here, welcome, my friend. And if you're a returning listener / viewer, thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. I know there's a few of you that actually watch these videos, and it makes me happy. I don't hinge my sense of value or purpose on these because I do them because they're fun, and it's fun to capture snippets of life in this form. Who am I kidding? It'd be great to go viral and become rich, right? But ultimately, it's just a fun thing to do. And I know there's a few of you that watch consistently, and that makes me happy. So thanks for coming back. The title of this video is a little clickbaity, I know, but I did it on purpose. Because I think I'm telling the truth. I think people have a really hard time talking about death, like the hard time I'm having getting this microphone in the right position. But yeah, I think people have a hard time thinking and talking about death. And you might be asking yourself, well, why do you talk about death, Peter? Well, for one, I think it's really healthy. And if you do it in a way that's forward moving, it's a fantastic way to enhance your life as opposed to become afraid. I know there's a lot of toxic positivity in the world. I've been guilty of it myself. Just that whole don't quit and always push and do your best all the time. And there's nothing wrong with any of that, but I think it's difficult to maintain, especially if you get a little older. You know, it's more of a 20s/30s vibe. You get a little older and you start to realize that you only have so much gas in the tank, and you want to use that to the best of your abilities to enjoy life the best you can. I'm a bit tired because I did a 24-hour fast with my wife, and because I'm trying to take a bit more responsibility for my health, speaking of life, and I want to get healthier and been making better choices with eating and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, we just did a 24-hour fast. We made it 20 hours, I'm not going to lie. I called it. I said, I'm going to kill somebody if I don't eat. And I learned a few things about that, speaking of death. Because I was reading a book during that fast talking about Egypt, and it's a wicked book called The Book of Two Ways by Jodi Picoult. And I hope I got her name correct, Picoult, if she's got the French vibe. But anyway, she wrote this book, and it's a really great book. She's a hell of a writer. And there's some gems in there, and it just got me thinking about death. Not that I don't think about it every day as a sometime funeral officiant. I do people's funerals. I'm the guy that stands at the front. If you don't have a priest, I do the service just like a priest would, except it's non-denominational, so it's not religious. And in this book, she was talking a lot about the way the Egyptians looked at death and dying. And of course, it made me think about the way us Westerners look at it. And when I used to work in a cemetery, I learned a lot about death and dying, especially different cultures, how they expressed grief, how they went through the death process and the dying process, or the funeral process, the burial process. And it was super fascinating. But I can only really speak to my own process and my own opinions on death and dying, because really it ties into how you live. I was very fortunate, I can say that now 30 years later, to have gone through the cancer experience and to get in really close contact with people that were very ill, and to have really great conversations with those people and the caregivers and the staff and stuff. And I really tried to use it as an education. Like, my friends were going to university at that time, and I said, well, this is my education. And I tried to be a student of the experience I was having, and because it gave me a little bit of purpose beyond just going through the experience and trying to get through it. I was trying to grow from it and grow through it, all the while, of course, riding the waves of fear and all the other shit that comes along with being a cancer patient. And I was having a hard time before that. Cancer actually saved my life, if we're going to be honest. I didn't have the balls to kill myself, and because it was in a bad way after a nervous breakdown, and cancer came along, and it really, it didn't come along. I believe I manifested it in my own experience, and it gave me a choice. I said, okay, cool, I can fuel this, not receive treatment, and eventually maybe it kills me and I die as a cancer patient, as opposed to somebody that commits suicide and, all the heavy shit that goes with that. Not that a cancer death is better, it's just more acceptable. But anyways, going back to the whole death thing, it gave me a lot of time to think about death and dying. I didn't think about death a lot when I was in treatment, but I sure did after. Because I really wanted to focus on living and focus on getting healthy and focus on creating a new belief system for myself and being open to things. Where I did a lot of the thinking was in the cemetery, which is one of my first jobs. I think it was the first job I got after I finished the cancer treatment. I got a job on a burial crew, and I've spoke about this before in other videos. But my God, I learned a lot, and it was powerful, and it really helped me digest the experience I just had. There's a really cool exercise in that book, going back to Jodi Picoult's book, The Book of Two Ways. And the main character is a death doula, who's someone that helps people prepare to die and helps their family after the person dies with their funeral and everything else. And they're like a midwife will help someone give birth. A death doula helps somebody die, both the person who's actively dying and the family members. A shout out Heather Kirk, who's a death doula in the Ottawa area. If you need some help with that, Heather Kirk. Her professional name escapes me, but anyways, DM me if you need some help with that. So anyways, yeah, in this book, it was amazing. I can't remember the name of the person. I'll try and look it up for the video and put it up on the screen, but it's a meditation on death and dying. And the Buddhists do this too. They have a really interesting take on death and dying. A lot of Buddhism is focused on that. And it's not in a negative way. It's in a really positive way, in a powerful way. And when you identify as a body only, it sort of keeps you trapped. I think you're more akin to feel fear if you only identify as a body, right? Like, this is my body, and when my body is no longer here, I'm no longer here, and I'm no longer, period. And I don't want to get into a big back and forth with people. We all have our own beliefs, and I don't want to argue anybody's. I'm up for discussion, but my personal belief is that we're energy. We're a spiritual entity having a human experience. And when the body is finished, we carry on somehow. I had a crazy experience during a surgery once that was exactly like a near-death experience, which I'll go into in another video. But I saw and felt things that have given me a lot of peace. And again, don't care whether you believe me or not. I'm just telling you that it's helped me a lot. And I do think about death and dying a lot. First of all, because it's part of my professional life as someone who does funerals. But also because at this point, after over 30 years of thinking about it and really getting close to it and allowing it in my life as a thing, because death and dying is active, right? Yes, it can happen suddenly, but it's a big deal, and it's a huge part of life, and it's inevitable. Nothing you do on earth in your life is going to save you from the fact that you're going to die. And I think that motivates a lot of people, but it also puts a lot of fear in people because we don't know. And it's hard to be conscious and then think about being unconscious. But I remember once during cancer treatment, I was in a restaurant and I was talking to a guy. He just got off work. He was a cook at the same place. And we got into a conversation and he asked me what I was up to, what I did. And I said, I'm a cancer treatment or whatever. And we talked about, and he was like, are you afraid of dying? And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't think about it a lot right now. I think more about living. And he said, before you were born, were you really worried about what you were going to look like? Were you worried about what kind of person you were going to be or the family you were going to have or any of that stuff? And I was like, well, no, I don't have any recollection. He goes, well, don't worry about dying either, which is one way to look at it. And that thought did give me comfort, but it also can make people feel anxious if we think beyond the whole being here thing and not being here. But I think it's really healthy to think about death and dying. I think it really helps you be here in this moment. I think it helps you appreciate having a body. I think it helps you appreciate having a life. I think it can be a really powerful component if you're trying to be grateful or have gratitude in your life. It used to piss me off, especially when I was sick and people would be like, oh, be grateful. And I'm like, I'll never tell people to be grateful, but I'll tell them, hey, examine your life. And what are some things that you find incredible about your life? Or what are some things that you appreciate, And an appreciation for those things is the first cousin to gratitude. It's the same thing essentially. If you appreciate something, you're grateful for it. And if you're grateful for it, it can fill you with all kinds of incredible feelings and energy. And it doesn't have to be a bowed head, be a good person. Just being grateful. Like close your eyes, wear a blindfold for a day, and then you'll be grateful for seeing, right? Like hold your breath till you almost pass out and you'll be grateful for breathing. So it's not hard to be grateful for things. It's just I think we expect too much or we want big lightning bolt moments when really life's about all those small moments. Like when I get up in the morning and I go outside and I see the sun and I look around and there's mist on the field and I take a minute to be like, one day that'll be the last time I see that. And some people may think that's dramatic or morose or dark, but to me, it's just a constant reminder of the incredible journey we're on here and the gift that being alive is. And maybe the afterlife is bazillion times better. I think it is. That's just my personal take based on my own experiences and research. But until you get there, who knows? But I just think that it's really, really healthy to think about death and to practice dying, and again, in Jodi's book, she takes one of her patients through this incredible process where it's a meditation on death and dying. And she takes her through the whole thing. Like imagine your eyes closed, imagine you're on your deathbed, imagine your body slowly failing. And she takes her through this meditation where the body fails, and imagine all your focus comes to a point of consciousness in your heart, and then feel yourself expanding out of that body. Like, it's really beautiful. And I will try and find it and put it in this video, because it gave me, it wasn't the complete meditation, but man, it made me feel really good, because there is a certain amount of comfort in thinking that maybe we go beyond all this and that we don't have to do it all in one life, and not certainly become lazy or to be demotivated and do nothing with your life and just be like, well, whatever, it's all meaningless because, A, because there's nothing, or B, because I get to come back. Either way, you can get sort of messed up thinking about that. But I implore you to try and think about that stuff. As a funeral guy, no matter how hard the funeral is, or no matter how difficult it is when I'm working with some families, I always drive away feeling grateful to be alive. And not in the sense where it's like, man, I'm glad I'm not that guy, or I'm glad that family's not my family, or whatever. It's just, I'm just grateful to be able to take a breath. Excuse me, there's some irony. Just to be here now and to be breathing and living and have a chance to just learn more stuff and participate in life and love my wife and love my friends and just try and be a source of something positive in this world, because that feels better than being a negative, depressed guy. I'm an optimist with a healthy dose of darkness. And I don't even like the word darkness. Like, I think to become a full spectrum human being, you have to allow for all of it. You have to allow for everything, because grief can be a really powerful soil to plant seeds in. And grief sometimes washes all the bullshit off of you, and you get down to what's real and what's meaningful, but you're experiencing it through painful, heightened emotion, But there's a lot of beautiful shit that happens when you're in that state too, if you allow it, and if you don't fight against it, and if you keep your mind open and your experience open, right? If you keep your heart open and you just sort of be in the moment and meet the moment where you are, and don't worry about things and just be here. And if you feel like shit, you feel like shit, and it's not forever and all that sort of stuff. I'm trying to be more gentle with myself as I get older. And I had a rough week this week too, questioning things and just frustrated that I was not doing my job well at work and just couldn't get it together. Just had a really off a couple of days, and I have a great boss. We can talk on a human level and he gets it. And we have good conversations about stuff, and I got great people I work with. So it's not like a sob story. And of course, I have the most supportive, incredible wife in the world who allows me to have the feelings I have and not judge and not try and fix anything, and just sort of meet me where I'm at and help me navigate the moment. And still, after 30 years of spirituality and studying and all this shit, I'm still a guy that'll absolutely lose my mind and try and beat up a porta potty on site because, I'm having a hard moment. So be kind to yourself, be gentle, but think about death. Think about dying, and not in a way that's going to freak yourself out, but just to A, help prepare yourself for when that moment comes, and B, to sweeten the moment we're in. Some of the best memories I have of people are the people that aren't here, because now that they're not here, what you felt with them means so much more. And I tell people, when you're writing a eulogy especially, talk about how they made you feel, because that's all you ever get to keep, is the feelings, the emotions. Like, we're emotional creatures here, and we're not taught very well how to be emotional creatures and how to navigate the emotional landscape, especially men. We have roles, and there's a time to be solid and be the strength for somebody who may not have it in the moment. And then there's a time to let go and to feel whatever it is you're feeling, to allow that to happen, to clear that space inside you. So think about death. See it as like an old teacher or something. I mean, even if you see it as someone sitting in front of you, like, what can you teach me about life? Like, who are you? What are you? What is the experience? And maybe see yourself dying and have that conversation with that dying version of yourself. Check in with that person, like, especially if you're having a hard time. I mean, shit, I'll think about myself, or if I feel stuck, I'll think about, God willing, I have 10 years. I think about the version of myself 10 years older, and, how did I get out of this? What am I not seeing? What am I missing? And 9 times out of 10, that version of me just laughs and says, don't take it so serious, man. Like, breathe. You're a clown. Be a clown. Have fun. Be serious when you have to be serious. You know how to do this, right? Have confidence in yourself. Trust yourself. So it's interesting. But yeah, think about death, because it really helps you live life, and it really helps pull things into perspective. Sometimes, man, I'll just sit and pet my dog and I realize she's not going to be here. And my wife laughs at me like she's 2. But sometimes I look at her and I think, frig, man, I got to bury you on the hill one day. But then I get overjoyed and I get filled with all this love and I squeeze her and I kiss her and I just love her so hard. I think about my wife dying. I think about me dying and leaving my wife. I think about that shit all the time. But there's a sweetness to it and there's a realness to it. And it makes me so friggin' grateful for what I have right now, because when I put myself in that position and I'm thinking about dying, I can really put myself there and feel all those feelings. But then I look over into the kitchen and there's my wife like making a coffee or something. See, it's getting me right now. And I realize that's not happening right now. And it makes me just feel so grateful and in love with life and the people in it. So that's my video for today. Don't be afraid to think about death. Because when you do that, you're honoring life and it helps everything. So I'm Pete. This is Celebration Machine. Whatever you're doing, I hope you're doing it well, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.